Every morning, the countdown begins for the markets with meticulous research and analysis designed to help you capitalize on the trading day. Beaming live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studio.
Good morning, hello and welcome to Bazaar Morning Call. We're coming to you as always from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Surabhi Upadhyay with me Reema Tendulkar. And Reema, it's the final countdown, final lap 2025, 3 more trading sessions. Reema's last trading sessions in office, so to speak. But yeah, for the year. But you know what, interestingly, the news flow hasn't died down, global and local. So we have plenty to talk about.
Indeed, but you know, when you look back at 2025, it's been such a seminal year. First, there was that big drawdown in March and April post-tariffs. Then markets recovered, particularly global markets. The AI trade exploded. NVIDIA became the first company to hit $5 trillion in market capitalization. We had Operation Sindoor, a record-shattering rally in precious metals. I mean, there have been so many defining moments in 2025 when you look back.
And now that you recount all of them, it looks like a very long year. I mean, some of those events have completely started to fade out, and then you realize it's all in a span of 1 year, right? So definitely eventful, to say the least. Let's get started. We, of course, have markets to navigate today as well. And actually, let's start by putting the performance. I mean, it's been a year to forget, perhaps some are going to say, or maybe it's a year filled with lessons for the Indian market. So I just want to, before we get to the cues of the day, let's just put up the tally and just map the Indian underperformance. And it's not just compared to Wall Street or compared to some Asian markets. It's kind of all pervasive. So look at the tally. So this year, the Nasdaq has been obviously the poster child for the bulls, 22.5% up. The S&P 500, because of late, the US market rally has started broadening out, and we saw signs of that on Friday as well. So the S&P 500 up about 18%. Dow's not too bad, about 15%. Look at Asia. And those Asian tigers have really been roaring. Kospi has been the defining market with a gain of about 72%. Hang Seng not too bad, about 32% on the Hang Seng. The Nikkei itself, with inflation rising in Japan, with interest rates rising in Japan, despite all of that, the equity market hasn't done bad. 30% up for Japan. Shanghai Composite, mainland China. Now, you'll argue whether it's just local Chinese money, whether it's real, genuine long-term foreign interest or not. That's a debate that goes on, but the index hasn't done bad, 21%. Look at Europe, look at, the UK markets as well. The FTSE has beaten us with a 20% gain. The DAX is up 21%. And overall, if you look at the Stoxx 600 index in Europe, that's up about 15% as well. And then comes India. 9% on the index, that's the Nifty. And the broader market. Mid-cap index only 5% higher. Small-cap index actually down 6-7% for the year. So that's been the story as we count down to the end of what has been a bit of a forgettable year for the bulls over here. 3 more trading sessions. Will they come out on top, at least in these last 3? So cues for today then. Like I said, Wall Street actually saw more of that trade broaden out beyond AI names, but the tech names also did fairly okay. At the end of it all, we didn't have too many cues. A little change on the indices, S&P 500, the Dow, the Nasdaq, all of them ending little change. The S&P, by the way, is now S&P 500 is just around 70 points away from yet another milestone, the 7,000 milestone. So watch for that. Dollar and yields, again, range bound. We don't have too many data points in terms of, the macro releases either. So the US 10-year was around this 4.13 sort of a handle. The dollar index just below 98. That's what we have. But the headlines have been coming in from the precious metal space. Now, initially, it seemed like this is just holiday thin trade, lower on volumes, and therefore you're getting these outsized moves or whatever it is. I mean, some of those moves continue in Asian trade this morning as well. So silver surges about 11% on Friday. It surges more in Asian trade this morning, hitting a level of $80 to the ounce. I mean, that's the kind of rise that we're talking about. Gold has also continued to march on. Spot gold hit a record high of $4,533 in US trade on Friday. Gold futures at almost 4,560 is what we are talking about. And it's not just silver and gold. Platinum, palladium, all of these metals have been surging anywhere between 10% to 14% in US action on Friday. So watch for the precious metals space. Now, let's come to geopolitics, because that's been the other big talking point. There was this high-profile meeting in Florida yesterday between President Trump and President Zelensky. So what are the two sides saying? We don't have anything very definitive from the Russian side just yet. But the right kind of noises came through. Actually, let's hear out the US president summing up his meeting with the Ukrainian president, Zelensky.
We had a terrific meeting. We discussed a lot of things. As you know, I had an excellent phone call with President Putin that lasted for over 2 hours. We discussed a lot of points, and I do think we're getting a lot closer, maybe very close. But if things don't happen, they keep fighting, and they keep dying. And we don't want that to happen. He doesn't want it to happen. President Putin doesn't want it to happen.
There's a lot of talk, but once again, there's, we don't have anything really concrete. And over the weekend, by the way, Russia has continued to pound Ukrainian territory. So those drone strikes have not stopped for even a second. With all of this, where we're left now for the Nifty, absolutely range-bound. The fight continues around the 2,600 mark. So 26,200 has been the upper end of the range. And about 26,000 to 29,500 has been the downside, the immediate downside. And let's see if the bulls will break out away from that, because we don't have too much of, too many global triggers at least. The FPI selling, by the way, is still relentless. We had more of it in the previous trading session. And so far in December, if you thought Santa will come and it'll take away some of this FPI pain, well, that's not really happened, because we're talking about 14,700 crores of FPI selling in December. 3 more trading sessions to go. But, Reema, beyond all of the global headlines, plenty of local news flow. And Coforge, just when you thought the IT year is over, what a big bang announcement from Coforge.
Indeed. So Coforge, on expected lines, has went ahead and announced the acquisition of Encora for $2.35 billion. It's a bold, transformational acquisition, but analysts say it's a bit pricey. But the question is, since the stock was down 10% ahead of the announcement over the last week, are the concerns priced in? So that's going to be one big stock to watch. The other one is Timex, where the promoter will be looking to sell nearly 9% stake via an offer for sale. And not to forget the defense stocks, because the DAC, Defense Acquisition Council, will be meeting today, where they will take up proposals to acquire weapon systems worth 80,000 crore rupees. This DAC Council meet was expected to be held on Friday, but it's going to happen today, and the last one of 2025. Just to put the flows of Friday in context, the DIIs bought 1,772 crore in the cash market, while the FIs net sold 317 crore. So what's on tap today? We've got the India IIP data that will come out at 4 p.m. As I said, defense stocks, the DAC will be meeting today, so watch for the stocks there. On the global front, the US home sales data and the information will be out today. This week, I think the big one is going to be the Nifty monthly expiry tomorrow. On the global front, the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index, the jobless claims, the FOMC minutes will be out on 31st of December. And generally, through the next 2-3 days, year-end portfolio rebalancing will take place. Then comes 31st of December, where a couple of global markets will be shut early, UK, France, and Hong Kong. And then on 1st of January, all the global markets except India will be shut. And thereafter, as we enter January 2026, the December monthly auto sales numbers will be out. So that's going to be the start in terms of the economic calendar for the Indian markets.
Yeah, the point that hurts the most is the one that you made on the 1st of January, right? All global markets except India shut. Well, that's been the story for many, many years now. Okay.